How long gone? The Lord's Day, Mother's Day. It's a big one. Sunday at noon. Them jeans. I feel like you had a big one yesterday, so I just want to check your temp.
I like how much you keep saying big one.
Well,
It's the big one, guys.
sometimes you have a big one, and I don't, there's a lot of ways to interpret that, but you know what I mean.
I know what you mean. You're talking about days, or at least I hope you are. But yeah, we're not talking about Calvin Harris.
No, we're not.
Yeah, I'm not fully awake yet. That's for sure.
What time? But what time did you get home from Millennial Coachella?
Not that I didn't get home super late, but it was just a long day, and it was like 97 degrees or something like that.
That'll take it out of you.
Just fucking twerks you out.
Sure.
You can't drink enough water. You can't take enough bumps. It's.
I mean, if I had
So
to,
I feel worn out for sure.
yeah. I mean, sitting through that much geriatric kind of indie rock with highlights here and there could take a toll on even our strongest stereo gum contributor.
That's a good. I like with Jerry with highlights here and there is the most backhanded shade ever.
That's just true.
It's unfortunately true.
That's every festival though. That's every festival is just like they're so big, and if you want to see what you like, you got to slog through a lot of stuff. You have to look at Kayleigh from Block Party's pants. And there's nothing you can do about that.
No, that's one of the bright oases on the lineup is Block Party. Block Party, a fun, good band. I think most people agree. Even people.
I'm not talking about the band. I like the band.
Okay.
I'm talking about how they look specifically because I saw some clips and they looked insane. They looked so bad. It was kind of shocking to me.
Like in terms of the way they're dressed and appear physically.
Yes, I mean Kayleigh is clearly on gear. And he's huge,
I don't know,
which I
don't
respect.
know. I mean,
I respect.
I was talking to a friend of the show, Jimmy Jolliffe, and I may have made a brawlic party joke or something like that.
May have,
but
I could have.
He's definitely I don't want my twee indie rockers to appear jacked, right?
Yeah, I mean, he looks like an Olympic body. It's not like, I started running or I got super into, solid core. It's like I'm in a weight room where there's chalk on the ground, and I wear tank tops with skinny shoulders.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? With skinny straps.
This is not a hot hit class with the girlies.
That is not a hot hit class with the girlies. There's no Stanley mug on, that has a wallet attached. This is like real deal, like Bang energy drink crushing. I've got chalk all over my clothes. Bodybuilding is the vibe he's giving, and he was wearing. From what I could see, and you were there, so you can speak more clearly maybe, but he looked to be wearing some kind of 90s Zumba pants.
Yeah, which is very bodybuilder coded.
But it's not funny, it's ugly. You know what I mean? It's like it's not kitschy. It's just like you look stupid.
Well, do you think that he was trying to look funny and ironic, or do you think that was just like these are the clothes I like to wear?
Either way, it's a failure. I don't know exactly where his head was at. I don't know where his head was at. But from what I saw, they sounded good. I mean, I love Block Party, and it's strangely one of the things that's held up really well from that era, which I don't think I would have expected if I looked back at that landscape.
Yeah, and I was talking to some people. They had like the original drummer, a really, really great drummer, and who's been replaced by a female drummer who is knocking the sticks just as well. It's beautiful to see.
That makes a little more sense, because the drummer was like a famous kind of misshaped twink vibe. Like he was like a car seat headrest, like a little hotter, a little skinnier somehow.
Yes.
Was kind of the vibe. Okay, I didn't realize that was okay. That makes a little more sense now that he's been replaced.
He may one of those guys where you might have like a little Pokemon like stuffed plushie attached to the back of your road case or something.
Your Miss 60 jeans that you're wearing.
Yeah, it's a dangle charm for his CD wallet.
Yeah, that's 100% the vibe. But okay, so you were at the festival. You had to be there. What was Them Jeans call time? Are we looking at 11 a.m.?
I told them I'd be there at 11:30 for a 12 noon stage time, and I started getting a lot of phone calls at 11:27. We need eyes on TJ.
What is Well, this is like when we do shows and they think we need to be there at 4:30 to sound check for an 8 o'clock show. And it's like, there's not much. If you got the CDJs, I got the sticks, I can handle this is kind of.
Yeah. There's one thing this machine does one thing and that's it. And as long as you bought it or rented it, it's going to work. Anything else is on you, not me. But that's just how it goes. I get it.
It is how it goes.
Producer people are a certain type of personality. And if the trains aren't running on time, then start to have a little bit of a freak out. But
yes,
it's fine. I had a good exchange with like every year you go to and pick up the credentials off site. Just
there's
like
nothing I hate more than off site credential pickup. I like put them bro, it's like when we did the Emmy stuff and we had to, like, it was so crazy to get credentials for that. Like, it was because it was harder for me because I made it harder, but it was crazy. But I want to park my car and I want to walk to a small box office and be handed my badge. And then I don't want to make different stops. It should all be in one place. Like, I don't understand what the point is of having it separate.
I know, because the band at some point has to go, or whatever, the talent has to go pick it up, and they need to have a separate location off-site to where other people don't have access to. So you don't have to wait in lines. You don't have to worry about fans.
Jenny Lewis ain't waiting in line. The tour managers that's what I'm saying, though. This is not, no artist
But the tour managers don't want to have to deal with all the, you don't want to see... Bro, it's like
tour manager's job is to see. That's their whole fucking job, is to be in the mud. So I'm saying, like, there can be a separate line, of course. I'm not suggesting it's like exactly the same.
I'm saying I enjoy driving to a nearby offsite location, being told by a person to not park there, but park there, even though I'm the only person in the entire parking lot.
Yeah, that's
and then walk up. Yeah, knocking on my fucking window like this.
Excuse me, not.
Can you
not
move
here,
your car over
here.
there? I'm the only person.
Not here.
But then, you pick up your stuff and then you go and enter a different back entrance and then you go straight into your trailer. I think it's a nice little... It's the exact same thing as Delta 360 having a different entrance. You know what I mean?
It's not though. It's not though, because it's not. it's not, because this is meant. I don't think this is meant to make the artist's life easier. I think this is meant to make the festival's life easier somehow. Because I want to pull up, get out of my bus, and walk to where I need to go. And if it's all in one place, that's an easier thing to do. Is all I'm saying.
Sure.
So that's all I mean.
This whole episode is going to be about this, by the way.
I'm sure there's some security issue or something. They got to check. I'm sure Live Nation's checking, Jenny Lewis's Rimowa for a fucking 9mm. You just got to, in today's age, you got to check everybody.
The gun's fine. Do you have any mushroom gummies?
Yeah, the Beach Fossil guys, they might have a Draco. I don't know what's in those road cases. You know what I mean? We got to look it up.
Yeah, Vampire Weekend.
Oh, famously.
They have a lot of ammunition.
Yeah, you open those road cases, you got a chessboard, you got ammo, you got, you got to kind of move some stuff around. There might be some hidden compartments.
Actually, I saw Vampire Weekend Road. They had Slayer road cases. It looked like they were, I don't know if they bought them used from Slayer. I don't know if there's
buying Slayer's used road cases is extremely cool. Like, that's a really cool move, not only to save a few bucks, but it comes with kind of some history. And
because I was walking past it, and like since Vampire Weekend was the main headliner, they had their own production area, kind of roped off, and it was right behind the main stage. So I walked past their area to and from the stage to the backstage or whatever.
You saw Ariel sunning himself like it was the 70s with reflective surface out.
They didn't. I wasn't allowed access to look at Ariel. No. But every time I would walk by and I'd be like, oh yeah, Vampire Weekend has Slayer road cases. That's kind of funny because the two bands couldn't be further from each other.
Exactly. Yeah.
But then I'm thinking, just from a logistical standpoint, I could see it being confusing. Obviously, I don't think Vampire Weekend and Slayer often share the same bill. But, for those like giant festivals in Belgium or whatever, there's a chance that Slayer and Vampy Weeks have played the same thing. And that's just straight up confusing. And also, if you're like, hey, go grab the road cases for Vampire Weekend,
Well, I
some
was
guy's
gonna
going to be
say,
like, oh, there's a bunch of Slayer ones, so I don't know. It seems like there's a lot of confusion abound.
well, yeah, when you're playing with the genius, union hands, I don't think that they're not really. It's not like a brain trust over there. It's more of a hulking strength that they provide, which is a great service. But I think they're easily confused is what I'm saying. So you're right. You could cause issues backstage.
It really could. It really could. But yeah, it was a great time. I had a fun time DJing. I played on the Ronda stage a little bit later as well. Shout out to everyone who came. But it was really, really super hot, and that really affected everything. Like one of the guys that I was DJing with, he had his music on like a little hard drive instead of a USB stick. You can just plug a hard drive into the CDJ.
Oh no!
He had a cup. It was like a plastic Solo cup filled with ice, and then a emptied out Cheetos bag, condom, so he could keep his hard drive inside a cup of ice because the shit was overheating and breaking down.
Wow. I guess of course that makes sense, but like I think because I've been in parts of the country this week that are not even close to that temperature, that it's a little hard for me to wrap my head around it. But I'm glad. Shit. Did it work out? Was he able to get his shit off?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty inventive. That's MacGyver. That's MacGyver mode.
It reminds me of like the Coachella Serato days where you'd be playing your record and the needle would dig into the vinyl and just literally like cut it like a knife through butter.
Shit, because the vinyl gets too hot.
Yeah, the
Jesus
vinyl just
Christ.
melts. The vinyl just melts. You're playing Ace Hotel, 118 degrees type shit. Cut copy remixes booming. And it's just looking like when you're at the cheese store of Beverly Hills, they got a big old wheel of Munster and the little piano wire cheese cutter going straight through it. It was just like that.
Oh man, that's actually that you painted a picture right there, and I appreciate it because I could really feel a DJ's pain as the vinyl melts. In
that's
Palm
the name
Springs.
of my memoir, A DJ's Pain.
So
move over, Keith McNally.
So all right, what were your highlights performance wise?
This memoir shit easy.
Or were you just doing bumps in the trailer?
The latter. I guess bands played. I didn't watch any of them.
Yeah, I mean I get that.
No, I mean I just hung out in the trailer mostly, and that's like I've said it before. It's my favorite thing to do. You're there. Everyone is hanging around. You've got air conditioning, a refrigerator full of cold beverages, and a bunch of friends from around the world, and you just hang out with everybody.
Sure. I mean,
I don't need to see the sounds featuring shiny toy guns. No shit.
I definitely don't need to see that. I mean, like I said to you before, I thought the lineup was really good, but it was also nothing I wanted to see, which is like a strange, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like I thought it was like, oh, this is the best this has ever been. I would like to see Vampire Weekend. I've never really seen them before.
Yeah, it was great.
But you got to stay till sundown.
Mm-hmm.
You got to stay till sundown.
It's fine. But yeah, another just
tough.
like having in the books. Success, great job, thank you, PJ.
And it's going well.
It's a whole thing now. I was really thinking yesterday, it's nice to have a festival like that, and I think because of the way that the talent was arranged in such a way, it creates a festival that kind of polices itself. It's either just like nice, happy, fun older people, or parents with their kids. Like when you're at Coachella and you're kind of walking around at midnight and you're kind of going from between stage to stage, like you'll see some areas and some people who are, potentially an issue. You know what I mean? Like you're going to see a guy from Fontana with a face mask on to make him look like, the Predator or something. on God knows what, and you're like, is this guy gonna bite my leg or like steal my wallet or grab my wife's ass, or there's a little element of like danger when you have 120,000 people on drugs and dark corners and just
drugs, yeah.
People who are like, we're here to see Travis Scott, and I didn't even have to Klarna the tickets because I stole enough catalytic converters to get my ticket.
Yeah.
So there's none of that. So you're able to just walk around and you're
yeah, you can run into other parents from the Highland Park drop off, and like, you know, everybody is wearing a camp collar shirt and has sunglasses on, and you know, they maybe could lose 15, 20, but that's the IPAs talking, you know?
And they want to know if TJ has been to any new restaurants lately. Hey, you're the food guy, right?
Oh God, that's funny.
Yeah, I did go to a great restaurant opening. I think the restaurant opens tomorrow or today, I guess, when it comes out. It's a raw bar, Cento Raw Bar in the unfortunate location of West Adams. Cento, Cento.
West Adams, they've really been trying to make happen for a little bit, and it seems like it kind of does.
I mean, it'll get there one day. I think, you know, it's where a lot of it's up and coming in a lot of ways, and a lot of people are moving there, and it's being gentrified.
Well, of course,
because it's kind of like the gateway to, like, when you have a job in Santa Monica or Culver City or Playa or wherever, but you're not able to afford a house in those cities, then West Adams is there for you.
Where is it? I've never been there.
It's kind of like between downtown and Culver City.
Oh, okay.
If that makes sense. You know, where the train right, the metro train that you usually take from downtown to
of course
Santa Monica.
Of course.
But there's like a pasta bar that's been there for a while, Cento.
Yeah, I've heard of that. I've heard of that before. I didn't realize.
This is maybe, you know, probably the fourth time I've been to West Adams, but the room is like a full crazy transformation. Every last detail, it's just really impressive. But I predict it'll definitely be like the hot spot, cute date night, girls' night. Everyone wears their funky color. You know, for when you are like want to go to Greece or Italy, but you don't have the time or whatever, this sort of scratches that itch. It's just kind of like putting on the VR headset and going to Capri or Greece or something like that.
I have a question.
Really cute spot.
I have a question for you though, because when I hear raw bar, I hear gonna need to get a slice after.
Yeah.
Is it so? It's light. It's light and sexy, or you can make a meal out of it if you need to.
I think it's more on the light and sexy side of things, but I don't you know, in the way that a Stir Crazy or you know, some of these other places, Penny, where
sure.
you can, you know, if you want to spend $800, you can piece together a complete satisfying amount of food in your belly, but it's more, you know, me and the girls are getting some spicy skinny margs, some pina coladas, and some raw thingies, and some little dips and some little thingies like that. But I don't think there's like whole things, but they had really nice raw kind of seafood tower, oysters, crudo, uni, all that stuff. But one thing I wanted to tell you, well, they had two things that were really cool. There was a caviar slider, which is sort of like a small version of the
super cool.
The Grand Central super cool. The Grand Central Oyster Bar in New York. You've been there before, right?
Yes.
Good place to do coke during the day. Have a little martini on your shift. In between your
I have a lot of
jobs or whatever.
I got a lot of shifts, so yeah, I get it. I totally get popping in.
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about more people who work in the industry. They can relate. You know what I mean?
I understand. Yeah, of course. I know you're as a guy who's never worked in a restaurant. You're deeply in touch.
Let me just get a dozen and a martini. I gotta leave here in like 17. So
service chef's gonna come out. So
yeah. But they had this the first time I went there. A friend of ours who used to run it. This guy Kevin. Legendary guy, but they had this sandwich. It was literally just 2 pieces of Wonder Bread with some creme fraiche smeared on both sides, and then a thin layer of caviar, and you just eat it. And it was an ingenious kind of thing. And they do a similar vibe, but it's on like a little kind of like mini slider bun and a little like creme fraiche mayo chive thing, and then some caviar. Nice little $48 bite.
I just don't.
But they had this dish.
Okay, what else do they have?
It reminded me of you. It's not something you would ever order, but there was a menu item that would get your attention.
Okay.
It's like a little smoked fish. I know that sounds funny, but once I get there, you'll like it. It's a little smoked fish plate where it's like a little fish dip, a little creamy white mayo-y fish with some things, and then there's some little like trout roe on top. Not a thing that you would ever order in a million years, but every fish dip has a dipping vessel, a cracker, a chip, whatever it may be, and they make from scratch bagels.
Whoa!
They make like an everything bagel.
Yeah.
Cook it normally, blah blah blah. Thinly slice the bagel into little kind of like 1 inch, very thin slices, and then crunch those up in the oven, toast them up to create their own house-made Gardetto's chip.
Oh, baby. Okay. That is great. The rest of it, I'm not into a fish dip, but I could eat a handful. I could eat a handful of those. Like the Cheez-Its are going out of style. That sounds delicious.
Nice. It was nice to see a bespoke handmade, because you see we make our own saltines, we make our own
Of course,
our Cheez-Its.
Yeah.
The Gardetto, because those Gardettos, those are powerful. That's like fentanyl snack.
It is a fentanyl snack, and I think it is
got me schlumping.
The crunch is just unmatched. If you're a crunch daddy,
is unmatched.
There's no crunch. Like, that's tooth-breaking crunch, and you just can't get that a lot of places these days. My mom was just eating some crackers downstairs, and they're called Crunch Masters. And I was like, that's a really cool name.
You've heard of the Girth Master. Meet the Crunch Master.
Yeah, meet the Crunch Master. I'm like, this must be a fucking Costco special or some shit, because I've never seen this brand before.
Do you have to buy these in Germany? I'm assuming they're not legal stateside yet.
Yeah, they're too crunchy that we can't get them through. We can't get them
the
through
FDA
customs.
has not approved. The FDA has not approved. So I googled it. It looks like there was a KFC meal deal called the Crunch Master. It was a jalapeno cruncher, but I found it. It's a Crunch Master brand of cracker, but they do have a flavor selection that's pretty impressive. I'm assuming your mom had the original.
Yeah, my mom goes plain. You know what I'm saying? As far as flavor goes.
Black family go, do y'all have plain?
Yeah, very much. Oh, that mayo, that's a little spicy. I don't know.
But they have a pimento cheese flavored Crunch Master. Just letting you know.
Oh, all right. Well, you know what? I might hit Publix after we finish and check out if the Crunch Master selection is up to speed. You know, you never know.
I got it. There's something about the Crunch Master just feels racist. I don't know why. It feels like an Austrian DJ or like some type of like industrial thing. I'm picturing like a Nordic guy with a black tank top on called the Crunch Master, and like he does something really good, but
that's a very
down, that he's
weird,
like a Nazi.
That's a very weird way to go with that. I think of it as more of like the dumbest name you could possibly think of that sticks, because it describes exactly what you're trying to do.
Well,
you're trying to master the crunch.
It's because I hear about a snack item. And it's like the whole thing is like it's super crunchy. And nowadays you see the packaging for brands, and it's oftentimes playful or millennial or soft or whatever, cutesy or whatever. And they couldn't have a more plain logo.
Regular ass. The logo matched the vibe.
It's just the most, like, the name is funny to me, and I was expecting a different branding direction. And then when I see it, it's the most down the middle, zero.
Remember the source, though. This is coming from my mom. She's not going to the shoppy shop to get a new fun cracker.
She got this at Costco, but that's fine.
100%. This has to be a Costco or Publix purchase. It has to be. It has to be. Yeah. It's funny coming from you, a guy who's been talking to me about some chocolate bar with the stupidest name I've ever heard in my life. But names are tough.
Yeah, but their silly name and their modern packaging makes sense to me in my brain. The Crunchmaster name and the Crunchmaster packaging are not clicking in my brain, and I still, which I guess is making me want to crunch more. But I guess speaking of, I have some things to talk about. I was going to talk about the Kanye Hitler song. Speaking of the Crunchmaster, but
is that still a thing?
Yeah, people. It's hard for people to discover the song because you can't listen to it anywhere except Twitter or other.
I haven't heard anything about this except for in a group chat. Like I haven't heard anybody talking about this.
Really? My Twitter feed is like ukulele covers, like all kind, like BTS shit. Like it's a talked about.
I have not heard anything about it. I knew it existed, obviously. You know what I mean? But I just didn't. I'm not getting fed.
Interesting. Well, I guess conspiracy theory is that people are saying it's like avant-garde, transgressive, outsider art, blah blah blah. That's one way to look at it. Or like, it's not about Hitler, it's about like he wants to see his kids, and it's there's that. But I think he's doing it just for attention because it's Kanye. But I also, he's complaining that like the streaming platforms are taking it down, and as if it comes as a shock.
Yeah.
Like I think Kanye should know. Like everyone knows there's rules. Like you have like the music you upload to a DSP, Apple, Spotify, whatever. It has to be your own music. I can't just upload abracadabra and say it's mine and start making money. It can't be an advertisement for Crunchmaster or anything like that. And it can't be a song that includes hate speech. And though everyone knows those rules, it's for anything.
Yeah.
And Kanye's like, I don't get it, man. They keep taking my song down. It's crazy. I don't get it. The song where I keep saying Heil Hitler over and over again, Apple doesn't like it, and it's really weird.
This is why.
So I think he's doing it himself, and the whole point of it is so that it gets removed from it, and then he gets more attention for another week.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And you know what? We're part of the problem. We don't ever need to talk about this loser again. I just don't even. Yeah. It doesn't matter. Like, it's not interesting, I guess. Like, I don't think. I guess the only interesting thing about it is that there's like a subsect of young people who just don't care what anyone does, and if they like it, they like it. That is interesting to me. That there's like a 15-year-old who's like, I know this is bad, even though my brain isn't fully formed, but I don't care because it's cool and my friends like it. That is cool.
Yeah.
That's like a thing to think about.
Yeah, I think that is a cool thing to think about. I guess not a cool thing, but an interesting thing.
But yeah.
So there's two interesting things for me. One of them being people are at odds with this because a lot of people consider it to be a really good song and like one of his best songs that he's released in years. So they're sort of at odds with, their moral compass of like, can I really be rocking to this?
Yeah, sure.
And obviously maybe in their own, like in your own home or in your own car, you're bumping it. And then, a week later, you're like, oh no, the song, like,
oh no,
Hail Hitler. Oh no, Hail Hitler has become that's that me espresso. I hear it everywhere. I can't get it out of my head. So there is that dark part. But the other part, it makes me think about all the like crazy grindcore bands that are on streaming platforms, thousands and thousands of them, where the artwork is just like a woman being raped by 12 chainsaws, and the songs are just the most heinous, offensive, crazy things you've ever heard in your entire life, and those are all rocking. No problem.
Well, no,
I think Hitler is the one thing.
They're on Bandcamp.
No, they're on everything.
I'm not super in touch with that awful genre of music, but
I'm not saying it's like a racial thing. It's like a hip hop and a metal thing, but it's just interesting that that's always been the line. And growing up, I'd go to record stores, and you see these cool things where it's like, like an NWA or like a Ice-T album cover, and there's guns and asses and all this illegal stuff, and they would censor it and blur it out. And then, like I said, you've got, these grindcore bands where it's just like, I rape your face with your grandmother's dick with blood, and just like it's like 10 times more offensive, and they're like, yeah, here it is, no problem. So I think Hitler is the line.
Gore and racism are very different, though. That's kind of I mean, it's just like, I've always thought, I hate metal. It's arguably one of the worst genres of music, and it attracts arguably one of the worst kinds of people,
ne'er-do-wellers.
But the other thing is, it doesn't really have any sort of, I mean, obviously there are certain people that have commercial crossover, but it's much more rare. You know what I mean? Whereas this is like,
no, that is a good point. They are deep in the bowels of the underground.
They're like, obviously somebody should be, maybe, they should run it through a computer. You know what I'm saying? Check out the lyrics, I guess, if they're going to do this to everybody. But it's just a different, it's like it will never reach a point where anyone that can do anything is paying attention to it, because it's just irrelevant.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it just reminds me of seeing like the Screwdriver albums. Like you guys are okay with like
Totally.
murder and rape, but like not okay with Hitler.
Yeah, there's everybody's got a line.
A guy who's bad for murder and rape.
Yeah. Yeah, he's famously bad for that. Famously bad.
But we will not speak of Kanye ever again until he does something next week, and then off we go. But I guess speaking of streaming platforms, I've noticed a rise of like stan accounts posting fake Pitchfork screenshots to trick people into streaming albums of their favorite artists. Have you seen this?
No, I like that though. That's funny. But like
people will. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, is it something I would actually fall for, or is it like one of these bands you're talking about?
It's a little bit of both. I mean, I think it might happen more in the K-poppy space, because that's where the most loco standum happens. But it's plausible because it's artists who are potentially reviewable on Pitchfork. So Pitchfork is probably not doing a lot of...
That's what I'm asking. If it's
Addison Rae maybe could be an example of somebody who would have that crossover, but would still be reviewed by Pitchfork. But it'll post like 9.9 best new music screenshot, and it looks real. And then in the following tweet will be a link to... It'll just say like, "Oh my God, I can't believe it. Boom, here we go." And then instead of including a link to the Pitchfork, includes a link to stream the album on Spotify, in hopes that 1,000 people will accidentally,
I gotta say,
fall for this trick.
I gotta say, I like it. I like that. I like a little trickery, because it should be.
Record labels like, this is our promotion team, this is our deception team over here, and I just want you to meet everybody.
No, this is literally what I was gonna. They used to be able to just pay for this, and now the fans have to do it. It's crowdsourced. They used to be able to, send the head of a radio station to the Bahamas with his family for 4 days, and all of a sudden they're in heavy rotation on hot AC. And now you gotta get in the
hot AC.
You're in the gutter.
Well, the dark part is like, before it was a transaction and we all knew it. I'm gonna do something deceptive. And in exchange for that pain that I am going through, I'm going to get $1,400 and a nice steak dinner, and we're all okay. It's all good. And now the dark part is they have tricked these people into doing their work for free.
Well, here's the thing.
With stand-up accounts,
right?
Here's
the thing. Yes, but also, like, did they trick them, or are these willing participants?
I mean, that's the philosophical debate. These are willing participants, but are they willing because of the way that the system has, been created? And but also, it could have happened intentionally or not intentionally, and it's just a product of the environment. Is this happening because of this, or is it just the system itself?
Yes. I mean, this is the eternal struggle, but I like that. That's a funny trend, because I don't like. Pitchfork Best New Music is such a funny thing that people still really care about, and I don't know if it even moves the needle anymore.
I think it moves the needle. I think it does, because I mean, the whole point of it is that it's a scarcity thing. The the Michelin stars. They only give so many of them out, so when it happens, it's a rare.
But when I look at it, like, I'm looking at best new albums right now. Mm-hmm. The first 3 I've never heard of. At all.
I believe
I've never seen the name of the artist. It's DeGrum, DGRUM.
Oh yeah.
It's Maria Somerville, and it's someone called Barker, no Travis. And then it's that band that I sent you that my friend Jesse showed me when I was in Milan, Los Thudahankana or whatever.
You talking about Chukwi Mamanani Kondori?
And then DJ Cozy, who I've actually heard of, and then Aya, someone I've never heard of.
Mm-hmm.
But, there's a Sharp Pins one that Shaw did that made me listen to it, so it worked.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, I don't, if I don't have any inclination of what it is, I'm going to scroll by it. But if for some reason it jumps out at me, I guess I'm going to be more apt to listen to it than if it was like served to me somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but think about when you were. I mean, I'll think about when I was 19 years old reading this, and I would download every single best new album blindly off of LimeWire or SoulSeek or whatever.
For sure.
Just because like maybe I'm going to discover my new favorite electro clash duo.
I mean, look, I love Pitchfork and I love shitty reviews. I love good reviews. I mean, they gave the Twigs album best new music, so obviously somebody's fucked up, But like, hopefully they still have their job.
Okay, we were talking. Oh yeah, I've been listening to the Keith McNally memoir. You've already finished it ages ago, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, actually I read it in like January, so I kind of
Us
not that I
normies
forgot.
have just had access to it.
No, a lot of people had access to it. But who reads it? Is it Richard E. Grant?
I don't even know. It's an old British guy, and he does a good job.
I think that's who it is. That's cool. That's cool because since Keith can't do it. But what do you think?
I think so far so good. I guess I had a couple thoughts about there was a little crossover when we were talking about like the death of the nightclub experience because of the cover charge. And he was talking about when he was running Nell's, he charged everybody $5 admission to get in.
Yeah.
If you're, a cab driver or Mick Jagger. And he didn't necessarily explain why, other than just like wanting to keep it across the board. But
yeah,
it seemed like it was working where like, do you want to attract the type of person or like it greatly and easily and quickly shows you the type of celebrity you're dealing with.
Yeah.
If
it reveals who you are.
If you ask Mick Jagger, oh, hey, sorry, Mr. Jagger, it's a $5 cover. You want him to laugh, reach into his wallet or tell the manager to give this guy $5, get a kick out of it and go in and have the night of your life, Get your dick sucked, do some coke. And then you have, a Madonna show up and say, what the fuck are you talking about? You're going to charge me $5 to get in. I'm not going to this club. And it's easy to say like, oh, great. Then your energy is not welcome here. And it's a good thing that
it should keep you
you're
out.
not coming in, especially for a $5.
Well, that's what Will Welch started doing this party. I missed it because I was out of town, but he started doing a party and that was the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's like, everybody's got to pay.
Will's charging 20 though, inflation.
Everybody's got to pay. And I was like, I respect it. And I think I do think it kind of says a lot about a person if they have an issue with
I think it's a cool idea. I think it's a cool idea. But, it's also very risky because we're living in a world where people feel above paying for the cover charge. But
true.
Once you pay the 20 to get in and they're promising and hopefully you're trusting that they're going to deliver a fun, enjoyable night, all full of people who don't feel super self-centered or entitled or, any of that shit, it can definitely work. And I think it's cool. And I think we need to return of the cover charge.
Let's bring it back. You heard it here
needs
first.
To happen, and we will start to appreciate. We're going to start to appreciate things more when we pay for them. It's just
I've said, look, I've been saying this for years. I've said famously, I hate it. It feels better when you pay. It's even like with certain show. If it's like somebody's playing and I want to go see it, within reason, I'm just going to buy a ticket so I can go. I don't want to have to. I don't
within reason.
I mean, you know what I'm saying. If it's sold out or if it's like a whole thing, it's like it's different. But like, I just think I think we're like kind of past that a little bit. We should be as adults, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think it still exists, obviously. But I'm talking about the upper echelon of these types of celebrity influencer or whatever. Because you see the people at Coachella who spent $1,500 and they are having a life-altering experience that they're going to tell their grandkids about. And my ass is going to talk about how I couldn't get Wi-Fi in the artist lounge.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, bro, this guy sucks.
The coconut water's not even cold.
Yeah, that's real. That's very real. I experienced my first, like on Friday in Nashville. Usually when you go into a green room of any tour, it's snack filled. Just packed to the gills with snacks. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Hummus, crudité, fucking RX bars, whatever. And
them jeans green room full of all that crackers, chips, gums.
Yeah, all of the above. So
I
go into, because Katie has a room and then her band has a room. And I go into Katie's room and there's just no snacks. And I'm like, wow, this is kind of powerful that there's no snacks in here. And then I realize it's because it's with Wilco, and there's like a full chef making dinner for everyone. You know what I mean? It's like fully. It's like I had literally like a piece of salmon and asparagus.
Oh,
So it's
nice.
like instead of eating, 100 pounds of Stacy's pita chips, you get like a real meal.
Sure.
And I was kind of like, damn, I know this happened, but I'd never experienced it before, and it really changes the experience.
I mean, I personally like both options, but that's cute. Hopefully they'll get, some snacks next year.
No, there were snacks available. It just wasn't as robust.
I'm just kidding.
As like, you know what I mean? You've seen it where it's like, this is OD. Like somebody from the venue just wanted to fuck with you at this point. Like you don't need that much Tony's Chocolonely.
Oh, wow, you know all the brands. So you're back in Atlanta, right? Did the bus drop you off in Decatur?
The bus parked at Chastain, and I woke up at I went to bed at 2, woke up
2 a.m. 2 a.m.
2 a.m. Yeah, one of Katie's texts, this guy Brandon, basically there was one bunk left for me, and it was, for whatever reason, the configuration, the ceiling was pretty low on it. So they had been using it classically as the junk bunk, which is a term I'm sure you've heard before. And Brandon was like, "Hey man, you're only here for one night. You never do this. I'll just switch with you so you have a regular size."
Wow.
Like that. And I was like, "You're that's very nice of you," because you could tell I was getting a little stressed out.
You're going to get claustrophobic in the junk bunk.
That's literally, yes. I tried it when I got there, and I was like, it's too late now. I don't have a flight or a hotel. This is what I'm doing, but this doesn't feel super good to me.
I'm getting sweaty just thinking about that.
Literally. So I go to bed at 2, wake up at 8:30. It's pouring rain.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's still asleep because the guys in the band all went out, and Katie's in the back in her room, and then of course it's just the bus driver who's watching fucking YouTube videos with no headphones on, and then I'm like, oh, I'll just call an Uber. I'm gonna call an Uber and go to the rental car place, get my rental car, and then go to my parents and work out and do my whole thing. So it's pouring rain, and Chastain, where the venue is, kind of like a Greek sort of it's in a neighborhood. Mm-hmm. It's in a very nice part of Atlanta.
Chastain is a concert venue for our listeners at home. Is that correct?
Yeah. Well, Chastain Park Amphitheater is the venue, but it's in Chastain Park, so it's like a beautiful community. Blah blah blah. So I wake up. I'm a little bleary. I'm wearing my pink Tekla sleep shorts.
Your sleep architecture was probably not great,
dude. It was all over the place. It was like a small earthquake had hit, and so I'm like, all right, Uber, I'll call the Uber, I'll go to Enterprise, I'll get a car, all good. It's pouring rain, which I famously hate. So I'm like, all right, whatever, he can pull up right here, blah, blah, blah. Then I get a message from the driver being like, hey, they won't let me up there. And I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. So I go look outside, and there is a fucking craft fair that has blocked the half mile that it takes to get where the driver is, and they will not let the driver come up. So I had to, in my shorts and a trench coat, walk downhill with my luggage for half a mile in the rain.
Wait, kind of a cute look, actually.
I mean, it was, I just felt, I got to Enterprise, and I was like, I looked
just with your Chanel
soaked.
Flats, or was there a different shoe? Did you do an UGG?
No, it was my new Row flip flops. So I was able to make it.
Oh, love.
I made it, but it was it was humbling, to say the
So
least.
you had to do a half-mile walk of shame through a craft fair wearing pink
That's right.
pajama shorts and a trench coat.
That's when you say it, it's worse than I even felt at the time.
You little slut.
I was a little slut, but
Yeah, you got brought onto the bus, worn out, drop you off at the craft fair, little hoe.
They can't even give you. No, they didn't, and it was I paid for the Uber.
Treated like
all
a chicken
that,
head. You buy your own Uber, dressed like Iris Law, walking down the street.
Yeah, I was at the craft fair. I saw Chris Black looking like Iris Law, all wet,
soaking wet. Iris, and it was actively raining while this all happened.
Pouring rain. Oh, so that's the other thing. So it's pouring rain. It's pouring rain.
No selfie.
No, I forgot. Shockingly, I forgot. So
that would have been very Addison Rae coded of you. If
that
would have
been smart. That would have been smart. So So then I come back to the house, and then after I had spent a day kind of in EXO tour life, I realized how trapped they are at these venues. You know what I mean? Like these places feel like in Nashville, it was like this new place. It was giant. It was like hard to get out of. You know what I mean? It felt like you were kind of stuck. So I was like, Katie, I have a car. It's pouring rain. Like, you know, if you want to do something, let's do something. She's like, all right, cool. Can you pick me up? I go back to the scene of the crime. I pick her up. I take her to Lenox Square on a Saturday just for us to kind of mob out.
Pop out.
We just popped out. We hit Neiman Marcus. It took 25 minutes to find parking. But Katie was wearing an Arc'teryx jacket, and it was like a Barney purple, and I really liked it. And I felt like it was something TJ could be drawn to. That kind of statement shell.
Of course. I've got a couple statement Arc'teryx shells. I don't have a purple, but I think I got a brown. I've got the bright dark orange.
That's the best. That's my favorite.
Orange.
But the purple I'd never seen before. I was really like, oh, that's a nice, you know, it does its job.
Good. I think maybe Ben Edgar had one. But it's cute.
He would. But yeah, anyway. And then the show last night.
Purple works with me.
It was outside, but it was rain or shine. It was like pouring rain. Like people, and it might have been sold out. It was like a lot of people, and they were just put on a poncho and thug it out, which I just don't. I don't have that inside of me.
I think at a certain point you just have to give in and just let it happen.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm sure it's probably a very fun experience if you are a young person who doesn't care about stuff that much.
Well, that's the other thing. They're not that young. Like Nashville, the crowd felt really young. Nashville, the crowd felt pretty young, but here it felt like grown up, and they were even more down for it. I think maybe because it's like I don't know. They just seemed carefree, is what I'll say.
Feel the rain on the skin, brother.
Honestly.
Good. Shout out to Kede. Glad you had fun. So you're back on dry land now.
I'm on dry. Well, yeah, I'm on dry land. I had a Mother's Day berries to really reset my internal, you know, barometer. And then now I'm here. I'm flying back to New York early tomorrow, like a usual nutso, like 6. So I gotta go up at like 4.
Okay.
But you know, that's it was. I'm glad I went. It was really fun, and I'm gonna write about it because there were some great details of that I just like stuff I didn't really know would happen that really was like special, kind of, if that makes sense. Not to be.
So would you rather drive around the American South in a claustrophobic bunk or a electric vehicle?
This is a great question. I think that I would go. I think I would go in the middle and just get a regular rental car. If it was up to me, I mean, if it was up to me, obviously I'm going to fly.
Ooh, I'm so sorry, Chris. There's 2 options for the answer. Kind of it's an A or B. You know what I mean? We can't create a C.
Electric car for sure.
Okay.
The bus thing is really like, I think when you're used to it, obviously it's fine, but to pop in and out of that is like, it feels extreme. You know, feels extreme.
You experience the bends probably.
Yeah, but it was fun to jump on and be a part of it for a couple days. You know, see 2 bands I love and then go home. You know, and it's
get your little Almost Famous on.
I was Penny Lane mode for sure. Yeah. Sure.
I actually speaking of the Keith McNally memoir, I wanted to ask you a question as somebody who's sort of balls deep in memoir writing.
I wish the balls were a little deeper if I'm keeping it at 100, but yeah.
Look, everyone I know who is currently in the middle of
anything,
you know, there's a deadline.
Yeah.
No, only specifically with books where like, yeah, my manuscript is due on this thing, and I definitely haven't come close to finishing it at all. You know,
yeah. Like I'm getting there.
I don't know if Chris has anything justifiable to blame it on, you know what I mean? We can't blame it on COVID, we can't blame it on kids. It's just you against the world. But it's not easy. But he reveals a lot of things, and the book is fun to read, and he has a great style of writing. I'm really into it, but I was thinking about how he mentions having some homosexual affairs, some of them anonymous. You know, he doesn't name people who he slept with, and sometimes
I mean he names
maybe they've already passed.
Yeah, he names the like guy he was in a relationship with when he was young.
But it had me wondering. You know, people will mention things like that all the time, and they'll remain anonymous to protect, parties who might not want to be involved. And I feel like, it's 2025. We were talking to Amine a couple weeks ago, and he was talking about, maybe the ladies, maybe the fellas. We're in a gender fluid sexuality zone right now more than ever. Being a little gay is welcomed, and there's less of a stigma attached to it. And I'm wondering, as a memoir writer, are you feeling the need to be more open, not necessarily about homosexuality, but just like, you talked about the bar being raised and like, we'll pay you more money if you talk about who you fucked, or you talk, all that stuff.
Yeah, sure.
Do you think people can just start saying, oh yeah, in 1998, I fucked a guy. I'm not going to say who it was. Do you think people will maybe start to fabricate homosexual affairs for their memoirs in order to sell books?
I wish you would have just texted me this so I could just do it. But now people are going to know that it's made up. But yeah, I mean, honestly, yes. I think that like, especially because of the like, that was my only problem with Keith's book is he didn't name enough names for me. And it's like, to me, if you're older, this is kind of really your like last hurrah in as far as like making a statement about your life, I just feel like fuck it, if people, but I think there's also the legal ramifications.
Yeah.
But if you say, yeah, I was in San Francisco in 99 and I had sex with a guy after we did a couple lines, yeah, I don't know where he is now. I'm not going to say his name. It's like, yeah, that's a victimless crime, kind of.
It's a victimless crime, and I wonder if it's a thing that will start happening more and more, and it will get to the point where we might not believe it. It's like a boy who cried gay, and you're like,
There's a fact checking element and shit that like I'm sure you can find a way around if you want to, but like I think it can
How
be
do you
pretty...
fact check that though?
Well, I think that maybe there's a world where if you're going to include that you have to tell the publisher who it is. You know what I mean? So they can you can't publish the name, but there might be a world where it has to be kind of fact checked.
Don't worry, it has been fact checked. We're all good.
Yeah, I don't know that for a fact, but it feels like if not, this would be happening a lot. I mean, the Barry Diller thing is the same. It's like everybody knew Barry Diller was gay, but like it's cool that like the way it's cool, like it's interesting the way that he did it and that it lasted.
Yeah.
Like he waited truly till the bitter end to tell people, even though it was a very open secret, like very, very open.
Well, I guess that raises a similar question with the Barry Diller. Are we beginning to normalize a healthy, more honest model of would it be intersexual marriage?
I don't think that'll ever be.
Well, it's obviously been going on for years and years. There's been beards and marriages where everyone knows, but nobody is.
Don't talk about Lewis Hamilton like that. No, just don't talk about Lewis Hamilton like that. But yes, you're right.
I think
it's a known.
It takes a certain dynamic type of woman to marry a gay guy, and I feel like in 2025, if all the rules are broken, we're past all that. I think it could be a modern, evolved
I think
form of partnership, right?
Yeah, but one thing I think we're forgetting is that in some of these cases, I would say the people are very rich, so it's kind of like. And powerful.
Money is often in play.
And it's a little bit like, well, it's better if we're together than if we're not, for financial reasons or for public, career reasons, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. So it's like you figure out a way for it to work for you is what it feels like to me, more than like we're out and proud. It's more like this is a weird situation, but we've made it work. And sometimes we're willing to talk about it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, because we all know people who are in relationships where the guy is clearly gay. And you want to say like, oh, I wish you would just, come out just like Barry did and maybe do it earlier in your life, not at the end of your life, so you could, feel that weight lifted from your shoulders.
But maybe some people like that little weight. You know what I mean?
But maybe some people like a little bit of the weight. It's naughty that
they put a couple 45s on the bar and they like it. It's not a couple plates ain't hurt nobody. Is
true.
The possibility here? But I do think it's an interesting thing because I also think that these two guys that we're using examples are of a certain age where it was a very different time to be gay. And like you had to be in secret. So I think now that is not the case, that you're right. It'll probably become more of a thing that we hear about because it's not, no one's going to lose their job or be looked at differently. They might be like, this is a freak. It's like, when, somebody's like, oh yeah, do you want to join my polycule? You're like, yeah, you're a fucking freak, but like, yeah, do you?
But that's the thing. It's like, you've got an open marriage and that feels regular, but then a polycule just turns it so, I don't know, like blue-haired barista. Yeah. It attaches like a less appealing energy, but they're essentially the same thing. And if you are in this modern relationship where like, I'm a gay guy, I'm really good at interior design and this, and I handle this, and then my wife is a powerful woman and she does this and this, and it just works. And I'm able to fuck dudes and she's able to fuck guys, and is it cheating if your husband's gay? I don't know.
That's honestly one of the deepest questions you've ever asked. No, that's no joke. How long gone?
Wait. Yeah. I have one last. I'm how I'm always thinking about how to save the film industry, right?
Yeah, much to my chagrin.
Well, I know that you don't like it, but I've tied in an industry that you do enjoy, airline travel.
Okay.
So whenever you go, I was watching a little David Spade stand up, and he was talking about how, you're on the Delta flight and you're scrolling through and there's nothing to watch. It's it's 11 Hunger Games movies and a bunch of bullshit. And you're like, oh, here's the new releases section. Finally, some new shit. And it's like 27 dresses and like all these, it's just a bunch of bullshit on there. The film industry is hanging on by a thread. The airline industry is equally fucked and trying to nickel and dime us for every little addition and thingy. You want a napkin, $5, whatever it is. So instead of the current in-flight entertainment system, we switch it to an on-demand system similar to Spotify or Apple with music. You go on the flight, you pay $29.99, and you can pick whatever movie and TV show that you want to watch. And you're happy, you can watch everything you want. When you're buying the flight, maybe it's $10 off. It's $20 instead of $30 when you're buying the ticket to get a little thingy. I was looking it up. It's like 2 million people a day see a movie in a theater, and like 3 million a day in America take a flight. So you'd more than double those sales, and it's a situation where everyone has to watch the movie on the plane because there's nowhere else to go.
It would have to be an airline. It would have to be across the entire industry, or it wouldn't work.
Yeah, I agree.
Because whatever the airline is would just fail, or not fail. It just, you know what I mean. It has to be like everywhere you go. Not a bad idea, honestly. It would save me. I feel like I would save money because I've never turned on a TV on a plane. It's been at least 2 years. Also, now they've given the Wi-Fi for free. That might hurt.
Yeah.
I'm saying, like, if they would have, if the Wi-Fi still cost and they charge for the TVs and the movies, I think more people would pay for movies.
Yeah.
Depending on the route, depending on like on the route, which is.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the Wi-Fi is truly. I mean, I encounter it being charged for it occasionally now, but it's pretty real. They've like rolled it out. It's nice. But
thank God.
But yeah, I do think that if that's not a bad idea, but there'd have to be a lot of massaging to make it work.
It would require a lot of massaging, but I would say, hey, both industries are teetering on the brink of death. It's it's a guaranteed suicide mission to fly out of Newark. Every film is being shot in anywhere but America. The whole thing's fucked. Every movie theater's closing. We need Hail Marys now, y'all.
Yeah, I need an airplane more than a movie theater, so I don't want to kind of sacrifice one for the other. If it came down to it,
I do too.
Yeah, check out Sinners in theaters. All right. Thank you for listening. How Long Gone? HowLongGone.com is the website. We are going to be announcing some tour dates, I think this week actually.
Oh.
And we have some stuff coming up. We're kind of switching the format, which we'll tell you about beforehand. But look out for that. I'm back with more podcasts this week, and them jeans. I hope you get some Pedialyte, and we'll talk next week.
Thanks, Chris. Have a blessed Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all the mamas listening today.
Yeah, mama.
And our mamas. Okay, bye.